I don't know if you ever wondered if you are in a right place in your life. Did you ever wonder something like this? If you are making a difference, if your presence somehow in a society, group, whatever is truly required. I tell you, I thought about those things from time to time, and I believe that you are asking sometimes yourself similar questions. And what do I want to do? Am I needed in my life? And I want to tell you that I have 100% answer for you. You have a perfect place planned from the very beginning. He's absolutely in love with you. You are absolutely needed. You know, having a children is quite a thing, and you really want to make sure that your children are going to be in the right place, where you feel at peace that they are in the right place. And I know something about this right now, especially when I have those two little ones. You know, they are so cute, and I'm thinking if something would happen to them. But this is exactly the same. God is looking at every single person here and is wondering and thinking, I really want them to be fulfilled. I really want them to be in the right place for themselves. And it's not me who is saying this, but I would like to read from Zechariah 2:8, how important you are for God. Whoever touches you touches the apple of my eye. That's what God is saying. Whoever touches you touches the apple of my eye. You just can imagine, you just picture this. In Isaiah it says that I have engraved you on the palms of my hand. Elevating us so high, God also gave us great responsibility, making a difference in each other's life. Because God's character is to make a difference, to be good, to carry goodness, to carry something meaningful, something special. He called you just as he was giving and distributing talents and gifts, which you have. Your talents and gifts are having a specific purpose to serve, to be used for good of other people, especially in the church and outside of the church. And this is so crucial. I would never imagine even describing this love in such words which God described them. And I would like to talk today about the calling of God somehow. God is calling every single person which is sitting here. If you never experience it, I hope that you will see maybe after we finish this sermon. But before I will do this, before I will concentrate on that, I would like to go into a little story. I would like to illustrate certain things. You see, it happened quite a while ago. It was a very difficult time in the nation of Israel. It was a time when the word of the Lord was rare, and it was not many visions during that time. And I'm reading from the 1 Samuel, 3rd chapter. And one night, it was a very young boy who was lying in his bed, and he hears the voice of the Lord. Lord called Samuel. Samuel answered, "Here I am." And he ran to Eli because God was saying, "Samuel, Samuel." So he's going to Eli because he was a young child who was like a student of this other prophet called Eli, and they were sleeping somewhere close by, like we are sleeping in a cabin. You know, there are many beds, you know, but we can hear if you would be whispering, you know, you can hear what someone is whispering, and Samuel is saying, "Okay, master or rabbi, teacher, what do you want?" And he said, "Nothing, I didn't call you." And then he's going back to his bed, and he's lying again, and he's kind of falling asleep, and then he hears again, "Samuel, Samuel." And he's like, okay, he's going to Eli, and he's saying, "Okay, I'm here." And Eli, "I didn't call you." Okay, it's very strange, you know. So he's going back to his bed, and he's lying on his bed, and he's turning from one side to another, and then he's hearing again this voice, "Samuel, Samuel? And he's like, okay, well, this is strange again. Eli is behaving very, very strangely today. So he's going to Eli again, and he's saying, okay, you called me, here I am. And Eli was thinking a little bit, and he said, no, I didn't call you, but God is calling you. It must be the God who's trying to tell you something. Go and say, here I am. Whenever you will hear that voice again, tell God, here I am. Your servant is listening. And Samuel is going back. He's lying on his bed. And that's what he's saying, when he hears the voice again. Your servant is listening, and God is telling him something. And unfortunately, it was not a very uplifting message in his case. But you can imagine, the Bible is saying that Samuel was so little and so young that it says that actually it says in the Bible that he was so young because he didn't know God yet. And the word of the Lord had not yet been revealed to him. You can imagine he was like a blank piece of paper which could be written on, which means that he had to be very, very young. And God is choosing him. And you can actually wonder, how is it possible? How come that, here there's a prophet of God lying in the next room. We could call him a teacher, pastor, priest, whoever it would be. And he's lying next door. And God is telling directly to Samuel, I want to call you to do special mission. What I'm trying to say that God does not see age. God does not see any borders. He can call anyone. Doesn't matter if you're very old or very young or in between. God can call you anytime you are ready, anytime you are willing to listen to that voice. And Samuel didn't even know that he's ready, didn't even know that this would be a good thing. But God said, I have a mission for you. And that mission which Samuel got, it was not a very, very good mission, because basically God told Samuel that, listen, the judgment was passed, or I'm not very happy with the actions of the sons of Eli. Basically, the sons of Eli, they were priests. And in the temple, they were just coming, and it's supposed to be, when they are cooking the meat, which was offered, the fat's supposed to run out. And basically, priest's supposed to take this, just a meat without fat, meat which was boiled. And it's actually a very healthy thing. God wanted priests to be very well off. They didn't want them to have too much cholesterol in their veins. He wanted to them be just right. But the sons of Eli, they were coming, priests, and they were saying, give it to me, give it to me this raw meat, I don't want this, cooked or fried, whatever, I want this raw meat, with a bunch of fat, And the servants were saying, but listen, you can choose whatever you want, but after the meat is being cooked, after the meat will be done. This is the advice from the Lord also. This is the procedure through which we are going, Please respect that, And the son said, hey, if you won't give it, I will hit you right here, Bible actually says, if you won't give it to me, I will take it by force. And you can think, what attitude do you have, God's people? You can be truly close to God, supposedly close to God. You can be very egoistic. You can be very bullish. You can be very somehow, egocentric in some aspects. That's what those priests, Eli's sons, they were like. They were presenting this kind of attitude. But problem here in that whole picture was one, that Eli, knowing about the situation with their sons, didn't take any steps. You see, Christianity is a community. It's like a family which helps each other to deal with certain things. But Eli didn't do anything. Eli knew that his sons have some kind of problem, knew that they are not that right, on the right side with God. So see what God is doing. God is calling this young boy, and he's telling him, you will be my messenger. You will be the one who will tell the truth, and you will stand for something. You, because these old people, those people who are supposed to stand for something, they are not. So you, young people, will have to stand for something. And you have to tell him the truth. What is the problem? And when Eli heard that, he knew exactly where it's going. He understood that. What I'm trying to say that we have responsibility in the church to stand for something. We were discussing about variety of different challenges in our present societies. Do we stay for something? Do we represent some kind of something meaningful? What we would like to lift it up? I remember somewhere around 15, 20 years ago, I met this girl. She was 16 then. And I met her, and very early, when she was 14 or 15, she had a certain kinds of friend, and she ran away from home, and she started taking drugs. And she was, pulling, putting the drugs into her veins and stuff, and she was found later on somewhere in Warsaw, capital of Poland, and she was in a very bad shape. And when I met her, 16-year-old, she had AIDS, and probably today she's not among the living anymore. But in her case, I was just wondering, what can I do? In her case, I didn't know what to say, what to do. But what responsibility do we have when someone close to us is going into this direction? What do I have to just stay still? Will I just say behind someone's back, do you know that this girl, she has a problem? She's taking drugs, or maybe she's, or maybe he's drinking alcohol, he's running away and he's drinking, he's passing out, and maybe you know about this. Or maybe, we will just say quietly that they are living with each other and you know what they are doing, blah, 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 blah. Do you see what I'm saying? Instead, just being right, and Samuel, he's very careful. We can read in the Bible that he doesn't want to tell Eli because it's very hard for him to tell the things which he heard from God because they are so close. But because Eli asks and he knows that this is important for him to know, but also because they have respect somehow to each other. This young child have a message from God. And I believe also in our churches when we can stand for something and we truly want to care for another person, if I truly want to care for someone, it's not easy to tell tough things sometimes. It's not easy. But because I really respect them and in love, I want to tell them something. We can call it responsibility. We can call it, exchange of favors. We can call it exactly, that's what I was looking for. We can call it accountability. Because to be honest, if I would be this person who is going into this direction to be under the bridge and trying to maybe take some kind of drug or something, I wish that I would have someone who would say, give me a kick, and I would say, I'm sorry, but hey, you can't go there. I will stop you on this way, because sometimes we're acting upon infatuation, sometimes we're acting upon a desire, sometimes we're acting upon whatever element which pushes us certain destructive way. But then when we have someone who will just hold us back, we might make a difference, not just here on earth. We can make an eternal difference for that person. And I believe all of us are called to make this kind of difference, like this young boy with a message to his teacher. I believe that all of us are made or are called to make a difference somehow for another person. Otherwise, what do we have to share? Otherwise, what do we have? Where are we? I believe that we are called for a special mission. God is calling us. I would like to take you to another story where this is a story written in Gospel of John, chapter 9. Gospel of John, chapter 9. It's a very interesting story. You see, there's this guy who's blind from his birth, and he doesn't see anything. And sometimes when someone was not blind from his death, the sight could come back to him, or it could be some kind of reason why he got his sight back. But this guy, he doesn't have, he doesn't see anything since he was born. And sometimes, at least in this culture, people were saying, they were sinful, either him or his parents, and they are passing very, kind of hard judgment. And his disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was blind from birth? His disciples have also this kind of mentality. But God is saying, Jesus is saying, don't pass judgment like this on people. It's not him nor his parents. But this is the situation you can see is so the glory of God will be revealed. Don't make a judgment in such way. Can you imagine? In that culture, it was revolutionary. It was something special. And what's happening, Jesus is saying, while I'm in the world, I'm the light of the world. I don't know how you imagine that, or how you can see this whole picture, but being children of God, I believe somehow we have to experience that light which comes into our life. When God is calling us, we have to somehow see certain difference where we could be with God, what we can make with God, where He's taking us in this journey here. I'm just thinking about, few people, just try to make it, more relevant. I would like to go maybe 16th, 17th century and Martin Luther, and my father-in-law, he just gave me this example yesterday. And when Martin Luther, it was an awful storm. It was an awful storm. And lightning was just striking here and there, and he was under the big tree, and it was very, very scary. And he was praying then, because when you have few lightning striking here and there, you are like, okay, it will hit this tree and I'm fried or whatever. I don't know if he had this kind of knowledge or not. What I'm saying is that Martin Luther, he kneeled down and he prayed, and he said, God, if you will take me from this ordeal alive, I will be serving you till the end of my life. And God took his promise seriously, and he became a monk, and later on all of us know that his life changed life of so many people. He became a leader of the Protestant movement. He was the one who said that, hey, our salvation comes from Jesus Christ himself. You don't have to go to the holy places. You don't have to go through the pilgrimage here and there. Your salvation is at your hands. God is giving you through grace. If you accept God, Do you see the life coming out of this man? Do you see the good news coming out of his life? Do you see thousands of people who are like, thank you, God. We can have a direct contact with you now. He was actually the one who was translating a Bible into the German, in the national language, so people have access to the living world. So the light which is shining from God will be in their life. They will be able to experience that. I'm thinking about one guy who was called Christian. Oh, that would be Christian maybe in English. And he told me his stories quite a while ago, and he said, I was a drug addict. It was no hope for me. I really didn't see anything in my life. My life was like a black room where I was doing certain things, I was living, but I didn't have any hope. And he met someone who told him about God and about Bible, and they were quite persistent in his case. They were just telling him, quite nicely, but consistently about hope which he can have with God, And when I met him, he was a student in a seminary. He wanted to tell people about this light which is coming from Christ and can fulfill or can fill up your life in such incredible way that he can make a difference and you can make a difference for some other people. And I'm thinking about my father. He couldn't quit smoking. Some of you know about this. He couldn't quit smoking for so many years, and no reasons were getting to him that he's sick, or that he's sickish, that he doesn't have money. It's a lot of money was going into cigarettes. That he's killing us, slowly but surely. That it's not economically, viable to spend so much money on cigarettes and so on and so on. Nothing helped. But when he started reading the Bible, when he discovered this personal relationship with Christ, this changed his life completely. And since the baptism, he never smoked one cigarette. You tell me that God is not changing people's lives. And here we have this story about this person who is sitting next to the road and Christ is coming to him. And he's taking having said this, he spit on the ground, made some mud with saliva and put on his eyes. Go, he told him, wash in a pool of Siloam. This word means sent. So the man went, washed out, and came home seeing. It shows that God, his word have the same power as actions. He put some mud and he said, just go wash it off. And he did see. But it's interesting things. It's actually very, very funny what's happening later on. God can make a difference. God can make people see, not just physically, but spiritually. It happened in my life. It happened in life of many people I know. But what's happening here in this story, look what's later on. Some people see that, hey, this guy, he was blind before, now he's coming, he's walking, he's normal, and his friends or acquaintances, they said, what happened with you? Who did it to you? And look what he's saying. The man they called Jesus made some mud, put it on my eyes. He told me to go to Siloam and wash. So I went and I washed, and then I could see. So simple. So simple. This is his experience with God. We can call it testimony. Sharing what God has done in his life, what God has done in your life. Our stories can be so simple, but yet they can be so powerful. And those people, they said, wow, it was incredible what happened. We have to take you to our teachers, teachers of the law, especially the teachers of the law, they didn't like Jesus so much, so it was good to actually confront teachers of the law and present this obvious miracle. So they are going to the teachers of the law and they are saying, okay, look what happened. This guy Jesus, he came, he healed him, and he can see now. They couldn't believe it so much. And they are asking him, therefore Pharisees asked him, how he had received his sight. No, he put mud on my eyes. Can you hear this kind of funny language even? He put mud on my eyes. The man replied, and I washed, and now I see. Again, such a simple thing. But they don't like it because they're saying Christ does not keep the Sabbath properly the way we would like him to keep. And Jews didn't believe him, actually. So they said, okay, bring your parents. This is a guy, 30 years old, 33 at least, and bring his parents. They're asking, is it your son? Okay, he's our son. Was he blind before? Oh, yes, he was blind before, but now he can see. But ask him, because they were afraid of Sanhedrin. So they said, hey, he's adult. Just ask him. He knows what happened to his life. He knows what took place. You don't have to ask us. So they're going back to this blind man. And verse 24, we can see, a second time they assumed the man who had been blind, and they're saying, "Give glory to God," they said. "We know this man is a sinner." They are referring, of course, to Christ. He replied, "Whether he is a sinner or not, I don't know. One thing I know, I was blind and now I see." And this is the thing, that in our life, just noticing the fact that we can see what is truly important in our life. And then we can see later on he's saying the same story. "I have told you already, and you did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples?" And of course they kicked him out. "For judgment I have come into this world, so that the blind will see, and those who see will become blind." The Pharisees, they had all evidence to actually acknowledge that Jesus was God. He actually showed them. They had all of this in front of their eyes. We are having many people. You are hearing many stories. You have many books. You have a right to read Bible. Do we see Christ? There is someone else who didn't see, and he was willing to accept Christ. Later on, when Christ met him, he said, "Do you believe it? Do you believe in me?" And he kneeled in front of him and he said, "You are my God," actually. He said, he actually showed, because he kneeled, he acknowledged, being a Jew, he knew that he can just kneel in front of God. He acknowledged the divinity of Christ. And I believe we are living in a time where we have this problem. We are living in a time where actually we ourselves have to make the stand for God ourselves. We are called to make a difference. We are called to serve living God. In February 1986, one guy called Roy Whitstein, he was interested in stones, and he was collecting a variety of different stones, and he went to a special market. And he was going from one stand to another. And finally he came to one table where one gentleman, he had a variety of different stones, and he was browsing, and he was taking one stone and the other, and he was looking under the light, and he was asking, "How much is that one?" $15. Will 10 do? So the guy said, "Okay, 10 will do, no problem." He took this stone, and 9 months later, turned out that this stone he bought for $10. From 15, he take it to $10. He was the star sapphire, 700 carats larger than the previous record black starfire of Queensland, which was discovered in 1948. 700 carats larger than the previous record, and the value of that stone was estimated around $2,300,000. Sometimes in our life we are browsing. You can see it actually here. Sometimes in our life we are browsing through those stones. I would call them our priorities in life. And sometimes we are holding one stone and we are holding another stone. We are saying, "This is our school, this is our life, this is my mortgage, this is my car, this is my this is my that," And the greatest priority, the greatest stone, greatest rock of salvation which we have is Jesus Christ himself. And among all those priorities, we have a choice. But if we will hold on to this greatest treasure we can have, this will change our life. This will transform people who are around me. This will push me forward with my plans, with my plans, abilities to grow, this will make a difference, not just here, but it will be difference which is taking place for in eternity. Especially, I want to tell you that in Revelation, I can hear something else, Revelation chapter 3. Especially, it's so important to actually make this right choice among our priorities, because God Himself, Jesus Christ Himself, is calling. You see, in 3rd chapter, you have this church letter to Laodicea, and in this letter we can hear that, and this is the letter which is written to the last group of people before the end, historically speaking, which means that this is exactly a letter to us, a letter which will kind of describes the reality we live in somehow. I didn't think that I will be reading it, but I want to read just one or two pieces from here, because it's so significant, I think. I know your deeds, it says in Revelation, verse 15, 3rd chapter, verse 15, that you are neither cold nor hot. I wish you were either one or the other. So because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I'm about to spit out of my mouth. Spit out you out of my mouth. What I'm saying, we are living in a world where sometimes we don't have people who are standing for this or that. Everything is accepted, whatever it is. This style or that reality or this reality. Everything is okay somehow. But here I can hear that it says, you believe in Christ, that's fine, I believe in this, I believe in, someone else, Mr. X or Mr. Y, that's good, making a certain standpoint, making a certain decision, for God. That's what Christ is somehow asking for, because in verse 20 he says, "Here I am, I stand at the door and I knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with him, and he will eat with me." Jesus Himself is knocking to the door of our lives and is saying, I would like to call you to do something special. I want to be part of your life. I want to make sure that we will be united. I want to make sure that you will be finding this great stone, treasure, which is worth so many carats. I want to make sure that this stone will be yours in your hands, because I will be in your life. Do you see what I'm saying? I want to make sure that you will be there. And whatever problems, whatever struggles you have, like this guy who didn't see anything, it was his problem, it was his struggle. Whatever struggle you have, is it alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, I will take it away. But just, you have to come to me. You have to give your life to me. The decision is ours. The choices which we are making are ours. I just hope that the choices which we are going to make will be for Him. That we will be able to experience God in our life, that we will be able to accept that call which is being directed to you today. We don't have any excuse. Dear Lord, I just want to, right now, come to you, because this is the most important decisions which we can make in our life. To accept you, to open our heart towards you. From all the variety of different priorities which we have in life, I pray so we will discover you. So we will accept you in our life. So we will accept the calling just like Samuel did. We will open our eyes and we will see spiritually, just like this blind man who when you opened his eyes and he was able to see. I pray so we will be able to be part of transformations of life of other people, just simply because we have you in us and you are sending us to make a difference in this world. What a great and wonderful responsibility. What a satisfaction. I pray so the difference which we are going to make with you, it will be difference for eternity. Not just here, but also here it will be visible. I pray for your guidance and I pray for your directions. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen.